The air inside the bustling Harmony Home Goods store in downtown Austin was thick with tension on a humid Thursday afternoon. The shelves gleamed with artisanal decor, hand-woven rugs, and eco-friendly kitchenware, all reflecting the brand's promise of inclusivity and community. At the customer service desk, a sharp voice cut through the hum of shoppers. "Get her out of here! Call security now!" barked Melissa Carter, the store manager, her arms crossed tightly over her crisp white blouse. Her blonde ponytail bounced as she gestured toward a woman standing calmly in front of her. The woman, Maria Alvarez, adjusted her faded denim jacket and shifted the weight of her reusable tote bag. She wore no makeup, her dark hair pulled into a messy bun, and her sneakers scuffed from a morning walk. At 42, she looked like any other Austin mom running errands, not the founder and CEO of Harmony Home Goods, a chain with 150 stores nationwide. Today, she was undercover, testing her own company. "I just asked to speak with a manager about a return," Maria said, her voice steady, a faint Texas drawl softening her words. "I haven't yelled or caused a scene." Melissa's blue eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a sneer. "We don't serve troublemakers or people like you. You're holding up my line and disturbing my customers." Her voice was the loudest in the room, drawing stares from shoppers, clutching candles and throw pillows. Two security guards, Jake and Corey, approached, their hands hovering near their radios. "Ma'am, you need to leave," Jake said, his tone firm but uncertain, glancing at Melissa for confirmation. Maria's hands tightened around her tote, but her face stayed composed. "I'm a customer with a valid receipt. I'd like to understand why I'm being denied service." Melissa laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the wooden display racks. "Valid receipt? I bet you stole that stuff. People like you always try to scam us. Security, escort her out now." The guard stepped closer, and Jake placed a hesitant hand on Maria's arm. Shoppers pulled out phones, some filming, others whispering. A teenage girl in a baseball cap muttered, "This is messed up," but no one intervened. As Jake and Corey began guiding Maria toward the glass doors, the store's warm lighting glinted off a small pin on her jacket. A discreet camera she'd worn all day. She hadn't raised her voice, hadn't fought back, but her pulse raced. Melissa smirked, turning back to her desk as if she'd won a petty victory. "Good riddance," she muttered, loud enough for the crowd to hear. But then, just steps from the exit, Maria paused. "One moment," she said to Jake, her voice calm but edged with something new, authority. She reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. "I need to make a call before I go." Jake frowned, glancing at Corey, who shrugged. "Ma'am, we've got orders to—" "It'll take 30 seconds, Maria interrupted, her brown eyes locking with his. Something in her gaze made Jake hesitate, a flicker of doubt crossing his young face. He nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but make it quick." Melissa spun around, her smirk fading. "What's she doing? I said get her out," she snapped, storming toward them. But Maria was already dialing, her thumb steady on the screen. The call connected instantly. "Rebecca, it's Maria," she said, her voice low but clear. "I'm at the Austin flagship store. I need you here now." She hung up, slipping the phone back into her pocket, and faced Melissa with a quiet, unreadable look. Melissa's face twisted with irritation. "Who do you think you're calling? Your lawyer? This is private property. We can refuse anyone." She waved a hand at the guards. "What are you waiting for? Move her!" Jake tightened his grip, but Maria didn't resist. She let them guide her toward the doors, her sneakers squeaking faintly on the polished floor. The crowd parted, some filming, others shaking their heads. A middle-aged man in a flannel shirt whispered to his wife. She didn't even do anything wrong. As they reached the entrance, the glass doors swung open, not from Jake pushing them, but from someone storming in. Rebecca Lopez, Harmony Home Goods Chief Operating Officer, strode through, her navy blazer impeccable, her heels clicking with purpose. Her dark hair was swept back, and her expression was a storm cloud ready to break. "Stop right there!" she commanded, her voice slicing through the store. Every head turned, including Melissa's. Maria stepped away from Jake, brushing off her sleeve. She reached up, unpinned the camera from her jacket, and held it out for all to see. "This," she said, her voice rising just enough to carry, "is being recorded, and I'm Maria Alvarez, the CEO of Harmony Home Goods." The store fell silent. Melissa's jaw dropped, her arms falling limp. Jake and Corey froze, hands dropping from their radios. The shoppers gasped, phones still rolling. In 7 minutes, everything was about to change. Maria Alvarez hadn't always been the powerhouse behind Harmony Home Goods. 25 years ago, she was a 17-year-old in San Antonio, watching her parents, Juan and Rosa Alvarez, struggle to keep their small furniture store afloat. Immigrants from Mexico, they'd poured every dime into their dream, crafting tables and chairs by hand in a cramped garage. But loan after loan was denied, banks citing insufficient credit history or high risk, excuses Maria later understood were coded for something uglier. "They don't see us as business owners," her father had said one night, his calloused hands resting on a half-finished chair. "They see where we're from." That memory burned in Maria's chest as she grew up. She vowed to build something different, a company where everyone, no matter their background, could find a place. After earning a business degree from the University of Texas on a full scholarship, she started Harmony Home Goods with a $500 loan from a community fund and a single sewing machine. Her first products were handmade pillows sold at local markets. Today, with 150 stores across the U.S., Harmony was a household name, its logo, a woven circle, symbolizing unity. Maria's face graced Forbes covers, her story of grit and vision inspiring millions. But she never forgot her parents' fight or her promise to them. This Thursday, Maria wasn't the polished CEO in a pencil skirt and heels. She'd spent the morning in Austin's East Side, her old neighborhood, walking past taquerias and murals, blending in with jeans, a faded jacket, and sneakers. No one recognized her as she grabbed a coffee from a corner shop, the kind of place her parents might have frequented. She was just Maria, picking up a few essentials: milk, tortillas, a bag of limes, before heading home. As she waited in line, 2 women ahead of her caught her ear. They were in their late 20s, both Latina, dressed in casual work clothes, scrubs, and a diner apron. "I tried returning that lamp at Harmony yesterday," one said, her voice tight with frustration. "They wouldn't even look at my receipt, said I didn't look like a customer." The other woman snorted, shifting a bag of groceries. "Same thing happened to my sister at the downtown store. She had the box, the tag, everything. They accused her of stealing it and called security. Harmony's supposed to be for everyone, right? What a joke." Maria's stomach dropped. She set her limes back on the counter, her appetite gone. Harmony Home Goods was her baby, built on the ashes of her parents' rejections. Its mission statement, "A home for all," wasn't just marketing fluff, it was her life's work. She'd spent years hiring diverse teams, training staff to see every customer as equal, plastering that promise on every store wall. And now this. She slipped out of the shop, her sneakers scuffing the pavement as she walked to her car. A modest Toyota, not the sleek SUV her assistant usually drove her in. Leaning against the hood, she replayed the women's words. Didn't look like a customer. Accused her of stealing. Her parents' faces flashed in her mind. Rosa counting pennies for fabric, Juan sanding wood late into the night. Had she built an empire just to let it mirror the same walls that shut them out? By the time she got home, Maria's shock had hardened into resolve. She sat at her kitchen table, a simple oak piece her dad had made decades ago, and pulled out her laptop. Reports from regional managers glowed on the screen. Sales up. Customer satisfaction high. But numbers didn't tell the whole story. She dug deeper, finding a handful of complaints buried in the system. Rude staff, refused service, felt judged. Most were from minority customers, flagged as unverified by store managers. That night, she called Rebecca Lopez, her chief operating officer and best friend since college. Rebecca picked up on the first ring, her voice crisp despite the late hour. Maria, everything okay? No, Maria said, her Texas drawl thickening with emotion. I heard something today. Customers, our people, saying Harmony's letting them down. I need to see it for myself. Rebecca paused, then asked, What's the plan? I'm going in tomorrow, Maria said. No suit, no title. Just me, a receipt, and a return. Austin flagship store. If it's happening, I'll feel it. You sure? Rebecca's tone softened. It could get ugly. It's already ugly if they're right, Maria replied. You in? Always, Rebecca said. I'll be on standby. Call me if it goes south. Maria hung up, staring at the framed photo on her wall, her parents outside their garage shop, smiling despite everything. She'd opened her first Harmony store in their honor, promising a different world. Now, 150 stores later, she feared that world had cracks she'd never seen. Tomorrow, she'd walk into her own creation as a stranger, armed with a $30 lamp receipt and a truth she wasn't ready to face. Whatever happened, she'd fix it or burn it down trying. Maria Alvarez woke before dawn on Friday, the weight of yesterday's overheard conversation still pressing on her chest. Her modest Austin home was quiet, the only sound the faint hum of the coffee maker brewing her morning fuel. She stood at the kitchen counter, staring at the oak table her father had built, its scratches a map of her family's struggles. Today, she'd walk into Harmony Home Goods, not as its CEO, but as a test, a living echo of her parents' fight for fairness. She didn't call her usual driver or pull out her tailored blazer. Instead, Maria dug through her closet, fishing out a faded denim jacket she hadn't worn since college, a pair of worn sneakers, and a gray t-shirt from a local 5K run. Her dark hair, usually sleek and professional, went into a messy bun, strands falling loose around her face. She skipped makeup, no foundation, no lipstick, just the faint lines of a woman who'd earned her place the hard way. Standing in front of the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Good, she muttered. That's the point. Her next stop was a friend's apartment across town. Lisa Martinez, a theater makeup artist Maria had known since their UT days, was waiting with a grin and a cluttered kit of brushes and prosthetics. Undercover boss, huh? Lisa teased, setting up in her cramped living room. You're about to stir up some trouble. Only if there's trouble to stir, Maria replied, sitting in a folding chair. I need to look different, Lisa. Not glamorous, just ordinary. Lisa nodded, getting to work. She swapped Maria's sleek designer glasses for a pair of chunky second-hand frames from a thrift store, the lenses, plain glass. A light dusting of powder added a few blemishes to Maria's smooth skin, subtle enough to pass as natural. She dabbed on faint shadows under Maria's eyes, hinting at sleepless nights, and clipped a few fake strands into her bun to make it messier. "Now the hard part," Lisa said, holding up a small tube of adhesive. "Facial hair?" Maria laughed, the first real smile she'd cracked all morning. "No mustache, please. I'm not going that far." "Fair," Lisa said, setting it aside. "But posture's next. You stand too tall, Maria. CEOs have a vibe, shoulders back, head high. You need to shrink a little." Maria frowned but nodded. She practiced in Lisa's cracked full-length mirror, rounding her shoulders, letting her head dip slightly. She softened her usual firm stride into a shuffle, hands fidgeting with the tote bag she'd grabbed from her pantry. "Look away when you talk," Lisa coached. "People who get ignored don't hold eye contact. It's instinct." It felt wrong, making herself smaller after years of fighting to stand tall. But Maria saw her mother in that slouch, Rosa clutching a loan application no one would read. She saw her father, Juan, bowing his head when a bank teller waved him off. This wasn't just a disguise, it was a bridge to their pain. "Okay," she said, her voice quieter. "I've got it." Lisa stepped back, admiring her work. "You're Maria Alvarez, random Austin shopper. What's your story?" Maria thought for a second, pulling a crumpled receipt from her pocket, a $30 lamp she'd bought months ago at a Harmony store in Dallas. "I'm Maria Gomez," she said, testing the alias. "Single mom, works at a diner, bought a lamp that broke after a week. I just want my money back." "Perfect," Lisa said, packing up her kit. "You're ready. Call me if you need an escape plan." Maria left the apartment, the morning sun climbing over Austin's skyline. Her Toyota rattled down I-35 toward the flagship Harmony store downtown, a sleek building with glass walls and a sign boasting a home for all. She parked a block away, not in the executive lot she usually used, and grabbed her tote, lamp receipt, a worn wallet, a half-empty water bottle. Her heart thudded, not from nerves about fooling her staff, but from what she might find. Before stepping out, she texted Rebecca Lopez, "Heading in now. Be ready." Rebecca's reply was instant. "Got your back. Call if it's bad." Maria slipped the phone into her pocket, pinning the tiny camera to her jacket, a safeguard, a witness. She'd seen the company's glowing reports, heard the praise at board meetings, but those women at the corner shop had cracked her trust. Standing on the sidewalk, Maria watched customers stream in and out, young couples with strollers, hipsters in flannel, retirees with canvas bags. The store was her pride, a $500 dream turned multi-million-dollar reality. She'd built it for people like her parents, like those women in line, like the Maria Gomez she was about to become. But if Harmony had forgotten that, she'd feel it in her bones today. She took a deep breath, adjusted her glasses, and shuffled toward the entrance. The glass doors slid open, welcoming her into her own world as a stranger. Whatever waited inside, pride or betrayal, she'd face it head on, just like Juan and Rosa always had. The Harmony Home Goods flagship store in downtown Austin buzzed with Friday morning energy as Maria Alvarez, disguised as Maria Gomez, pushed through the glass doors. The air smelled of lavender candles and fresh cedar, a signature touch she'd insisted on years ago. Shoppers milled around, displays of woven baskets and ceramic mugs, their chatter blending with soft acoustic music. Maria clutched her tote bag, the crumpled lamp receipt damp in her palm, and shuffled toward the customer service desk. Her sneakers squeaked on the polished oak floor, a sound swallowed by the store's hum. At the desk, a young clerk named Emily stood typing, her red curls bouncing as she nodded to a customer ahead of Maria. The man, a white guy in his 40s wearing a crisp polo and khakis, held a boxed coffee maker. "Mr. Thompson, so good to see you again," Emily chirped, her smile wide and genuine. "Did that rug work out for your patio?" "Perfect," he replied, grinning back. "Wife loves it. Just need to swap this coffee maker. Leaked on the first try." "No problem at all," Emily said, taking his receipt with a flourish. "I'll grab Melissa. She'll handle this personally. Wait here, okay?" She darted off, leaving Mr. Thompson leaning comfortably against the counter, scrolling his phone. Within 2 minutes, Melissa Carter, the store manager, appeared, her blonde ponytail swinging, her white blouse pristine. "Tom," she exclaimed, shaking his hand. "Let's get you sorted. Coffee on us while you wait?" She waved at a barista by the in-store cafe, who nodded and started pouring. Maria watched, her shoulders hunched, noting every detail. The handshake, the coffee, the first name ease. This was the harmony experience she drilled into training manuals. Warm, personal, seamless. She stepped forward as Mr. Thompson was led away, his new coffee maker already in hand. Emily returned, her smile dimming as she glanced at Maria's faded jacket and messy bun. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone flat, eyes flicking back to her screen. "Yeah," Maria said, softening her voice, letting the Texas drawl thicken. "I need to return this lamp. It broke after a week." She slid the receipt across the counter, keeping her gaze low as Lisa had coached. Emily barely looked at it, pushing a clipboard stacked with forms toward Maria. "Fill this out. Someone'll get to you when they're free." No smile, no ma'am, no offer to fetch Melissa. Maria nodded, taking the clipboard, and shuffled to a row of chairs near the desk. From her seat, she had a clear view of the store. A young Latina couple sat across from her, clutching a bag with a cracked vase, their faces tight with impatience. The woman checked her watch, whispering to her partner, "We've been here 20 minutes. Maria gave them a small nod, catching their tired smiles, mirrors of her own disguise. Over the next 15 minutes, the pattern became painfully clear. A white woman in her 30s walked up, no receipt, asking to exchange a chipped mug. Emily beamed. "Oh, we can fix that right now," and whisked her to a stockroom assistant. A middle-aged white man with a bent curtain rod strolled in, mentioning he'd lost the receipt. And Melissa materialized, laughing. "No worries, Jim. We'll take care of you." He left with a replacement and a free tote bag. Meanwhile, Maria sat, her form filled out, the lamp receipt pinned under her thumb. The Latina couple shifted uncomfortably, their vase still unaddressed. 25 minutes passed. Maria's eyes darted to Melissa, now chatting with a white couple by the candle aisle, offering them samples and a discount code. Through a glass partition, she saw 2 staffers, Tyler and Grace, sipping coffee in the break room, glancing at the growing line but making no move to help. At the 30-minute mark, an older white woman approached the desk, flustered about a faulty blender. Emily jumped up. "Mrs. Carter, no relation to Melissa, I bet?" she teased, earning a laugh. "Let's get you to Tyler. He's free now." Tyler emerged from the break room, all smiles, guiding the woman away. Maria's jaw tightened. Free now? She'd seen him lounging 5 minutes ago. The Latina couple stood, whispering, "This is ridiculous," and headed for the exit, vase in hand. Maria caught their names on their form. Lopez, like Rebecca. She scribbled a mental note. 35 minutes in, Emily finally called. "Gomez?" Her voice clipped. "Melissa can see you now." Maria stood, smoothing her jacket, and approached Melissa's station. The manager's smile was gone, replaced by a thin line of irritation. "What's this about?" Melissa asked, not rising from her chair, barely glancing at the receipt Maria slid over. The lamp broke, Maria said, keeping her tone meek. I just want a refund, Melissa snorted, flipping the receipt over like it was trash. We'll see about that, she said, her eyes raking over Maria's scuffed sneakers. Sit tight, I've got real customers to handle first. Maria sat back down, her pulse quickening. The camera pin on her jacket hummed silently, capturing every dismissive word, every sidelong glance. She'd built this store for people like Maria Gomez, ordinary, hardworking, invisible. But what she saw now was a betrayal of that dream, and it stung deeper than she'd ever imagined. Maria Alvarez sat back in the hard plastic chair at Harmony Home Goods, her tote bag resting on her lap, the crumpled lamp receipt now a lifeline to her undercover mission. 35 minutes had crawled by since she'd arrived, and the Austin flagship store hummed around her. Shoppers browsing, staff laughing, the scent of cedar masking the tension building in her chest. She'd watched Melissa Carter breeze through white customers with smiles and freebies, while she and the Latina couple, the Lopezes, were left to rot. Now, finally called to Melissa's station, Maria stood, her sneakers quiet on the oak floor, and approached. Melissa didn't look up from her computer, her blonde ponytail still, her fingers tapping impatiently. So, a lamp return, she said, her tone dripping with skepticism as she snatched the receipt from Maria's hand. She flipped it over, squinting at the faded print like it was a forged check. This is from Dallas. 3 months old. You expect me to believe you didn't break it yourself? Maria kept her voice low, her Texas drawl soft and unsteady, playing Maria Gomez to the hilt. It stopped working last week. Burned out. I've got the box at home if you need it. She shifted her weight, letting her shoulders slump as Lisa had taught her. Melissa snorted, tossing the receipt onto the desk. Sure you do. People like you always have a story. I've seen this scam 100 times. Buy something, trash it, then cry for a refund. Her blue eyes flicked over Maria's faded jacket and scuffed sneakers, her lip curling. We're not a charity. Maria's pulse spiked, but she kept her face neutral, her hands fidgeting with her tote. I'm not scamming, she said, glancing down. I paid $30 for it. Just want my money back. Melissa leaned back, crossing her arms. $30? Big spender. Look, our policy's clear. Returns within 30 days. Pristine condition. This is way past that, and I'm not buying your burned-out excuse. She smirked, tapping her pen on the desk. You should have taken better care of it. I didn't expect it to break so fast, Maria said, lifting her eyes just enough to meet Melissa's. Your stuff's supposed to last. The jab was subtle, but Melissa's smirk vanished. Our stuff? Maybe it's your fault for not knowing how to use it right. She stood, her blouse crisp against the desk's edge. I'm not processing this. Take it up with Dallas if you want, but good luck. They'll see through you, too. Maria's jaw tightened, but she pressed on, her voice steady. The website says you honor returns at any store. I checked before coming. She'd written that policy herself, years ago, to make Harmony accessible. Melissa laughed, a sharp, grating sound. The website? Cute. Policy's been for real customers, not whatever you are. She waved a hand, dismissing Maria's existence. I've got a line of people who actually matter. You're done here. Through the glass partition, Maria saw Tyler, a lanky cashier with a buzz cut, lean over to Grace, a brunette in a Harmony apron. They whispered, smirking as they glanced her way. Tyler muttered something. Maria caught stealing and typical before they both laughed and sipped their coffees. Her stomach churned. She'd hired people like them to build community, not tear it down. Can I talk to someone else? Maria asked, her voice firmer now, testing the waters. Maybe a supervisor? Melissa's eyes narrowed. I'm the manager. You don't like it. Leave. Or better yet, I'll make it easy for you. She raised her voice, calling across the store. Jake, Corey, we've got a problem customer. The security guards appeared, Jake rubbing his neck awkwardly, Corey cracking his knuckles. Shoppers turned, some clutching baskets, others filming. What's up, Melissa? Jake asked, his tone hesitant as he eyed Maria's calm stance. She's refusing to leave after I denied her scam return, Melissa said, her voice loud enough to carry. Get her out. She's disrupting my store. I'm not disrupting, Maria said, facing Jake. I asked for a refund and a supervisor. That's it. She's arguing, Melissa snapped, cutting her off. Wasting my time. Escort her out. Now. Jake sighed, stepping closer. Ma'am, let's go. Don't make this hard. Corey flanked her other side, his hand on his radio. Maria's heart pounded, not from fear, but from the sting of betrayal. This was her store, her dream, and it was spitting in her face. I'll go, she said, gathering her tote with deliberate slowness. But I heard what you said, Melissa. People like you. What's that mean? Melissa froze for a split second, then scoffed. It means troublemakers. Don't twist it. But her eyes flickered, a crack in her armor. Maria nodded, letting the guards guide her away. Shoppers whispered, a few shaking their heads. She didn't even yell, a woman in a sundress muttered. The Lopezes were long gone, but their empty chairs loomed in Maria's peripheral vision. As they neared the doors, Melissa called after her, Don't come back. The taunt landed like a slap, but Maria kept walking, her camera pin humming, capturing every word, every sneer. She'd built harmony for the Maria Gomezes of the world, single moms, workers, dreamers, like her parents. Now she knew that harmony was a lie, and the truth was about to break it wide open. The polished oak floor of Harmony Home Goods stretched endlessly beneath Maria Alvarez's sneakers as Jake and Corey escorted her toward the glass doors. Her tote bag swung lightly against her hip, the crumpled lamp receipt tucked inside, a silent witness to the past 40 minutes of humiliation. Shoppers parted like a tide, some filming with their phones, others whispering behind baskets of throw pillows. Melissa Carter stood by her desk, arms crossed, her blonde ponytail a sharp slash against her white blouse, a smirk playing on her lips. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, she called, her voice ringing with triumph. Maria's pulse hammered, but her face stayed calm, her shoulders still slumped in the Maria Gomez disguise. The camera pin on her jacket hummed, recording every step, every taunt. Jake's hand rested lightly on her arm, his grip uncertain, while Corey trailed behind, his radio crackling faintly. Sorry about this, ma'am, Jake muttered, barely audible over the store's acoustic music. Just doing my job. I know, Maria replied, her Texas drawl soft but steady. They were 3 steps from the exit when she stopped, planting her feet. Wait, she said, her voice shifting, just a hint of steel creeping in. I need to make a call. Jake frowned, glancing at Corey, who shrugged. Ma'am, we've got to. 30 seconds, Maria cut in, her brown eyes locking with Jake's. Something in her tone, quiet, unyielding, made him pause. He nodded reluctantly, stepping back. Fine, but quick. Melissa's smirk vanished. She stormed forward, her heels clicking sharply. What's she doing now? I said, get her out, she snapped, waving at the guards. "This is ridiculous." Maria ignored her, pulling her phone from her pocket with steady hands. She dialed a number she knew by heart, one that bypassed assistance, and rang straight to the top. It connected on the first ring. "Rebecca," Maria said, her voice low but clear. "I'm at the flagship. It's bad. Get here now." She hung up, slipping the phone back into her pocket, and turned to face Melissa, her expression unreadable. Melissa's face twisted with fury. "Who do you think you're calling? Your mommy? This is private property. I decide who stays." She jabbed a finger at Jake. "Move her, now." Jake hesitated, his hand hovering near Maria's arm. "She's making a call, Melissa. It's now," Melissa shouted, her voice bouncing off the cedar-scented air. Shoppers flinched, a teenage boy dropping a candle that rolled across the floor. Corey stepped closer, ready to grab Maria, but she held up a hand, stopping him cold. "I'm going," she said, then paused, her voice dropping. "But you'll regret this." Melissa laughed, a harsh bark. "Regret? You're nobody. Get lost." The glass doors slid open, not from Jake pushing them, but from a force barreling in. Rebecca Lopez burst through, her navy blazer crisp, her dark hair pulled tight, her heels a staccato drumbeat on the floor. At 38, she was Harmony's COO, Maria's right hand, and a hurricane in human form. "Stop!" she bellowed, her voice slicing through the store like a blade. Every head turned. Shoppers, staff, even the barista mid-pour. Melissa froze, her arms dropping. "Who the hell are you?" she demanded, but her bravado wavered as Rebecca strode forward, eyes locked on her. Maria stepped away from Jake, brushing off her sleeve with deliberate calm. She reached up, unpinned the camera from her jacket, and held it high. "This has recorded everything," she said, her voice rising to carry across the store. Then she straightened, shedding the slouch of Maria Gomez like a second skin. Her shoulders squared, her chin lifted, and the quiet authority she'd built over decades filled the room. "I'm Maria Alvarez," she announced, "the founder and CEO of Harmony Home Goods." The store went dead silent. Melissa's jaw dropped, her face draining of color so fast it was like someone flipped a switch. Jake stumbled back, his hand falling from his radio. Corey's mouth open, no sound coming out. Shoppers gasped, phones trembling in their hands. A woman in a sundress whispered, "No way," to her friend, who fumbled her basket. Rebecca reached Maria's side, her presence a wall of steel. "Melissa Carter, right?" she said, her tone icy, recognizing the manager from staff files. Melissa nodded mutely, her eyes darting like a trapped animal's. Maria held up her ID badge, the gold border glinting under the store lights. "A key to every Harmony location in the country." "You called me a scammer," she said, stepping toward Melissa. "Said people like me don't belong here. Explain that." Melissa stammered, her voice a squeak. I didn't know it was you. I thought, that's the problem." Maria cut in, her voice sharp now. "You shouldn't need to know who I am to treat me like a human being. Or anyone else." She turned to the crowd, her gaze sweeping over the stunned shoppers and staff. "This store, every Harmony store, was built for everyone. I started it because my parents were turned away, judged, dismissed. Today I felt that same sting, right here, in my own house." Rebecca crossed her arms. "We've got the footage," she said, loud enough for all to hear. "Every word, every move. This ends now." Melissa's knees buckled, her hands gripping the desk. Tyler and Grace peeked from the break room, faces pale. The shoppers held their breath, phones still rolling. Maria stood tall, the CEO no one had seen coming, and the reckoning was just beginning. The silence in Harmony Home Goods was deafening. A heavy blanket over the Austin flagship store as Maria Alvarez stood center stage, her CEO badge gleaming in her hand. Shoppers clutched their phones, filming the wreckage of Melissa Carter's arrogance. The blonde manager leaned against her desk, her face a sickly white, her ponytail limp like a defeated flag. Jake and Corey, the security guards, stood frozen, their radios silent. Rebecca Lopez, COO and Maria's enforcer, loomed beside her, arms crossed, her navy blazer a stark contrast to the chaos she'd just unleashed. Maria's voice broke the stillness, steady and resonant. I built this company for people like my parents, hardworking, honest, invisible to places that judged them by their skin or their accents. Today, I walked in as one of them, and you, she pointed at Melissa, you made me feel exactly what they did. Small, unwanted, wrong. Melissa's mouth opened, a weak croak escaping. Ms. Alvarez, I didn't know. That's the point, Maria snapped, her Texas drawl sharpening. You don't get to pick who matters based on how they look or sound. You called me a scammer, said people like me don't belong. You don't decide that. Not in my store. Rebecca stepped forward, her heels clicking with finality. Melissa Carter, she said, her voice cold and precise. You're terminated, effective immediately. You have 7 minutes to clear your desk and leave. Tyler and Grace, too. You're out for standing by and laughing while this happened. She gestured toward the break room, where the two staffers flinched, their coffee cups abandoned. Melissa's knees buckled, but she caught herself on the desk. 7 minutes? You can't. I've been here 3 years. I've got sales numbers. Sales don't excuse treating customers like trash, Maria said, her eyes locked on Melissa's. You're done. Jake, Corey, escort them out when they're packed. Jake nodded, his face tight with shock. Yes, ma'am, he said, his earlier reluctance replaced by a quiet respect. Corey followed, his knuckles no longer cracking, his posture subdued. Maria turned to the crowd, her expression softening but firm. This isn't just about me. I saw others treated the same way today. Ignored, dismissed. That stops now. She scanned the room, spotting the empty chairs where the Lopez couple had sat. They left, but I won't forget them, or anyone else who's felt this here. Rebecca pulled out her phone, barking orders into it. HR's on the line, she said to Maria. They're pulling records, every complaint this branch has buried. We'll find the Lopezes and make it right. Good, Maria replied, then raised her voice again. This store's closed for the day. Everyone, finish your shopping. I'll personally check out anyone still here. We're cleaning house, starting now. Shoppers murmured, some nodding approval, others rushing to grab last-minute items. A woman in a sundress approached, hesitant. Ms. Alvarez, I saw what happened. It wasn't right. My mom's been turned away here before. She's Mexican too. Thank you for this. Maria's throat tightened, but she smiled. Tell her she's welcome back any time. This is her home, now. The woman beamed, hurrying off with her basket. Melissa stumbled to her desk, hands shaking as she grabbed a purse and a framed photo. Tyler and Grace slunk out of the break room, heads down, stuffing personal items into bags. This is unfair, Tyler muttered, loud enough for Maria to hear. We didn't do anything. You did nothing, Maria shot back, stepping closer. You watched, you laughed, you let it happen. That's enough. Tyler's mouth shut, his face red as he zipped his backpack. Jake and Corey flanked the trio, guiding them toward the back exit. Melissa cast one last glance at Maria, her eyes wet but defiant. You'll regret this, she hissed, clutching her purse. No, Maria said, her voice steel. You will. The doors swung shut behind them, the 7-minute clock hitting 0. Maria turned to the remaining staff, Emily at the desk, a few cashiers frozen mid-transaction. Anyone else wanna test me? She asked, her gaze sweeping the room. No one moved. Emily swallowed hard, her red curls trembling. No, ma'am, she whispered. Rebecca handed Maria a tablet. Security footage is queued up. We've got everything, every word they said, every customer they ignored. What's next? Maria took it, her fingers brushing the screen. We fix this, she said. But first, I owe someone. She walked toward a young couple near the candle aisle. 2 Latina women, one holding a cracked vase, the other a receipt. They'd stayed watching silently. You're the Lopezes? Maria asked, softening her tone. The taller one nodded, cautious. Yeah, Sophia and Carla. We didn't think. You didn't have to, Maria said, smiling faintly. I saw you waiting. I'll handle your return myself, and anything else you need. You're why I'm here. Sophia's eyes widened. You're serious? Dead serious, Maria replied, gesturing to a register. Let's start over, right now. The store buzzed again, but the air felt lighter. Shoppers cheered quietly, some clapping. Maria glanced at Rebecca, who gave a sharp nod. The firing was done. The redemption begun. But the real work was just starting. 3 months had passed since the chaos at Harmony Home Goods' Austin flagship store, and the December chill had settled over the city. Maria Alvarez stood on the store's polished oak floor, now wearing a navy sweater and jeans. No disguise, no pretense. The shelves gleamed with holiday decor, hand-woven wreaths, ceramic ornaments, each piece a testament to the artisans she'd fought to uplift. The air smelled of cinnamon and cedar, and the soft hum of shoppers filled the space. Today, though, the energy was different, purposeful, renewed. After firing Melissa Carter, Tyler, and Grace in those dramatic 7 minutes, Maria hadn't stopped. That same afternoon, she'd gathered every employee in the store's back room, the cedar scent replaced by the weight of her words. Rebecca Lopez had stood beside her, tablet in hand, as security footage played on a projector. Melissa's sneers, Tyler's smirks, the Lopez's quiet exit. This isn't Harmony, Maria had said, her voice steady but raw. I built this for my parents, for people like them. We've failed that, but we're fixing it, starting now. The staff had sat in stunned silence, some nodding, others staring at their shoes. Emily, the red-headed clerk, had whispered, I didn't know it was that bad. Maria had met her eyes. Now you do. Help me make it right. The next day, Maria and Rebecca rolled out changes across all 50 Harmony stores. Every employee underwent intensive retraining. Not the old slideshow nonsense, but real-world role-playing with facilitators, teaching them to see every customer as equal. A mystery shopper program launched, sending diverse applicants, Latina moms, Black retirees, Asian students, into stores with identical returns or purchases. Results went straight to a new equity task force, chaired by Rebecca, with Maria reviewing every report. Back in Austin, Maria personally audited 3 months of customer complaints. She found 23 cases of denied service or rudeness, most from minority shoppers, buried by Melissa's team. One by one, she called them, apologizing, offering refunds, inviting them back. Sophia and Carla Lopez, the couple from that day, came in the next week. Maria handled their vase return herself, then gave them a $200 gift card. Not charity, she'd said, smiling. A thank you for staying. They'd left with bags full, Sophia promising to bring her mom next time. Word spread fast. The footage from Maria's camera pin leaked online. Someone from the crowd had filmed her reveal, and Harmony's CEO undercover went viral, racking up 5 million views. Comments flooded in. This is what real leaders do. Melissa got what she deserved. Local news picked it up, dubbing it the 7-minute reckoning. Sales dipped for a week, then soared. Customers drawn by Maria's stand, not just her products. Melissa tried to fight back, posting a teary apology on social media, claiming she'd been misunderstood. It backfired. Shoppers recognized her smug tone from the video, and her account went silent after a flood of backlash. Tyler and Grace vanished from the radar, their LinkedIn profiles dormant. Jake and Corey stayed on, retrained and quieter, their respect for Maria now palpable. On this December evening, Maria stood at the flagship's entrance, a clipboard in hand, greeting shoppers for a holiday open house. The store glowed with string lights, a mariachi band playing softly in the corner, a nod to her roots. She spotted 2 familiar faces weaving through the crowd, the women from the corner shop, the ones whose words had sparked this all. They carried baskets, their scrubs swapped for sweaters, their eyes wide as they recognized her. "Ms. Alvarez?" the taller one said, stepping forward. "I'm Elena. This is Rosa. We didn't expect to see you here." Maria smiled, setting the clipboard aside. "I owe you too. I heard you that day, about Harmony turning you away. It's why I went in." She gestured around. "This is for you now. What do you need?" Elena blinked, clutching her basket. "We just wanted to look. After the video, we figured it might be different." "It is," Maria said, her Texas drawl warm. "Pick something out, on me, and tell me if it's not right. I'm listening." Rosa hesitated, then grabbed a woven blanket, her grin shy. "My mom would love this." "Take it," Maria insisted, waving over a cashier, "and come back any time." They left laughing, blankets in tow, promising to spread the word. Later, as the mariachi band wrapped up, Rebecca joined Maria by the doors, her blazer swapped for a festive scarf. "Sales are up 15%, she said, handing Maria a coffee. "And complaints are down." "You did it." "We did it," Maria corrected, sipping the brew. "But it's not done. My parents didn't get a second chance. Everyone else does." She glanced at the woven circle logo above the entrance, her promise to Juan and Rosa reborn. The store closed late, lights dimming over Austin's skyline. Maria locked up, her sneakers scuffing the pavement as she walked to her Toyota. She'd started with $500 and a dream. Now, she'd reclaimed it. Harmony wasn't perfect yet, but it was hers again. For Elena, Rosa, Sophia, Carla, and every face she'd built it for. The fight wasn't over, but the hope was real.